For nearly 2 decades, one name dominated daytime television. A host known for laughter, generosity, and one simple message repeated millions of times: be kind to one another. But behind the dancing, celebrity interviews, and viral giveaways, a very different story was slowly beginning to surface. Stories from employees, stories from former staff members, stories that completely contradicted the image millions of viewers believed. And when those stories finally exploded into the public eye, the backlash was immediate. The same host once celebrated as one of the kindest people in television suddenly became one of the most controversial figures in Hollywood. So how did it happen? How did a talk show empire built on kindness collapse so quickly? And what really led to the downfall of one of the most powerful daytime TV hosts in history? This is the shocking rise and fall of Ellen DeGeneres. The rise beloved talk show icon. Long before the controversy, Ellen DeGeneres was already a household name. She first rose to fame as a stand-up comedian in the 1980s. Her observational humor and approachable personality quickly made her stand out in the comedy world. But her real breakthrough came in the 1990s with the sitcom Ellen. The show was popular, but it made history for a much bigger reason. In 1997, Ellen came out as gay both in real life and through her character on the show. At the time, it was one of the most groundbreaking moments in television history. It was also incredibly risky. The decision sparked massive public debate and backlash, and eventually the show ended. But over time, Ellen's courage earned her enormous respect, and a few years later, she would make one of the greatest comebacks in television history. In 2003, she launched a daytime talk show that would change everything: The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The show quickly became a massive success. It mixed celebrity interviews, comedy sketches, audience games, and heartfelt stories. But what truly made the show special was its emotional core. Ellen didn't just entertain people, she made them feel good. Viewers watched everyday people receive life-changing surprises: students getting college tuition, families receiving new homes, strangers helping strangers, and millions of viewers around the world fell in love with the message: kindness matters. Soon, Ellen wasn't just a TV host. She became a cultural icon. Over the years, Ellen built something extremely powerful. Not just a television show, but a brand. Her slogan became famous worldwide: be kind to one another. It was repeated at the end of nearly every episode.
But just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter. Before we go, I want to tell you that my spring Be Kind boxes, here it's filled with brands that are making a difference in the world.
That message became the foundation of her entire public identity. She danced with the audience. She surprised fans with gifts. She created viral moments that dominated social media. Celebrities lined up to appear on her show. Presidents, actors, musicians, and athletes all visited the Ellen stage. At one point, the show averaged millions of viewers every single day, and Ellen herself became one of the most influential figures in entertainment. She hosted the Academy Awards. Her famous Oscar selfie became one of the most shared photos in internet history. She won dozens of awards and built a media empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. To the public, Ellen DeGeneres represented kindness, generosity, and positivity. But behind the scenes, rumors had already begun circulating. For years, whispers about the work environment at The Ellen Show quietly circulated. Inside the entertainment industry, employees reportedly described a very different atmosphere behind the cameras. Some staff members claimed the workplace culture was extremely stressful. Others alleged favoritism, intimidation, and harsh management. But for a long time, these stories stayed mostly inside Hollywood circles. The public image of Ellen remained overwhelmingly positive. Fans saw a host who gave away gifts, helped strangers, and promoted kindness. Few people questioned the narrative until social media changed everything. In 2020, a single tweet sparked a chain reaction that would eventually shake the entire show. A comedian asked people online to share their worst Ellen stories. Thousands of responses flooded the internet. Some were exaggerated rumors, but others came from former employees who described troubling experiences working on the show. Suddenly, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were going viral, and journalists began investigating.
So you worked for Ellen as well?
Yeah, I did the first 2 years on that show.
And she was
rough. She was the C word. Yeah.
She was not nice to you.
Well, you know, it's funny because when it started, first of all, I wanted to write for her because I really do think she's like one of the great comics of all. New Orleans girl.
That's right. She never claims it, but yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen, actually, she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared. Because people found out that this character that she was portraying in half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. But I hadn't already known that because I had a buddy who worked for her. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a monster.
Soon after the online discussions exploded, several major news outlets published detailed investigations into the workplace culture behind the Ellen DeGeneres Show. Former employees described serious problems inside the production. Some staff members alleged toxic workplace behavior. Others reported discrimination, intimidation, and unfair treatment. There were also accusations that senior producers had created a hostile environment for employees. Importantly, many of these allegations weren't directed solely at Ellen herself, but they were connected to the leadership structure of the show she represented. The story quickly dominated headlines. For a host whose brand was built entirely around kindness, the accusations created a massive contradiction. Fans were shocked. Critics were relentless. Celebrities began speaking out both for and against Ellen, and the pressure on the show increased rapidly.
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show.
What was it like meeting Ellen? And is she a good person?
Let's just all go back to 2017, where I was the first person to call Ellen out before anyone else
You called
did.
her out?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show, and the world blew up about it and was like so mad at me about it, and then someone else said it, and then it was like, oh my god, Ellen's not nice. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Why do you say she's not nice?
I can't explain it. It was
Just
just
an
really
energy?
weird. I ran into her like backstage. It was like an awkward thing, and like the producers were really scared. I was like, what's going on? They were like, that was not supposed to happen. We're gonna get in trouble. It was like so weird. She was like, hey. It was like, I was like, oh hi. Like I was like, I'm so excited. And she was like,
Eventually, the production company launched an internal investigation. Several top producers were removed from the show, and Ellen herself addressed the controversy publicly.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show.
Ellen released a letter to her staff, acknowledging the allegations and apologizing for the workplace issues. Later, she also addressed the situation directly on the show. She told viewers that the internet had turned the story into one of the biggest celebrity controversies of the decade, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, the future of the show looked uncertain. In 2021, Ellen DeGeneres made a major announcement. After 19 seasons, the Ellen DeGeneres Show would officially come to an end.
I said it before, but I'll say it again. If I've done anything...
This is comedy legend Ellen DeGeneres saying her last goodbye on her show after 19 whole years.
Bye.
This is literally the end of an era. And this very end brings many questions.
Ellen DeGeneres feeling the heat as more employees, past and present, from her show say that they were working in a toxic environment.
The final season aired in 2022. During the finale, Ellen reflected on the journey of the show and thanked the audience for supporting it over the years. For many fans, it was the end of an era. The show had launched careers, created viral moments, and entertained millions. But its final chapters were defined by controversy rather than celebration. Still, Ellen's career didn't completely disappear. She returned to stand-up comedy and continued working on new projects, but her public image had undeniably changed. The host, once known as the Queen of Kindness, was now part of a complicated cultural conversation about celebrity, power, and workplace accountability. The rise and fall of Ellen DeGeneres isn't just a story about one talk show host. It's a story about how quickly public perception can change. For nearly 2 decades, Ellen represented positivity and generosity in entertainment. But when stories from behind the scenes began contradicting that image, the backlash was swift. Today, the story remains complex. Some fans still admire Ellen for her contributions to television and LGBTQ representation. Others believe the controversy permanently damaged her legacy. But one thing is certain: the Ellen DeGeneres story will remain one of the most dramatic examples of how celebrity reputation can shift in the age of social media, from beloved talk show icon to one of the most debated figures in modern television history. And it all happened faster than anyone expected.